All right, Ray. So I figured in case you wanted to watch, and in case anybody wanted to watch, I was going to show y'all what I was doing as I'm doing. I'm basically starting at the beginning, and we're going to go through this as best as I know how. First thing I want to do is see if we can figure out to get rid of this engine smoke that's going through it. So we're going to pull out the plug, see which one of them's the worst, see which one's oil fouled the most, so we know which cylinder we're going to. Because you got true duals, I know that your smoke is coming from the right bank, predominantly. You got some from the other side. We're going to do the whole job, but we're going to start out by pulling the plugs out and checking which one's the most fouled, pulling the valve covers, seeing what kind of condition, how clean, how dirty it might be underneath these valve covers, and that's going to give us an idea of how deep into this motor that we're going to have to go. If you just hang over my shoulder, I know there's a lot of background noise going on right now. First thing I'm going to do is mark up my plug wires for funsies, pull the plugs out, and you can just check over my shoulder what I'm doing as I'm doing. I'm going to do my best to explain it to you as I go. So, now I don't know if this is the correct orientation or not, but as long as I got it right in my head, it should be fine. I'm going to go, most Fords are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to number them just like that. So if this is number 1, we'll follow it on up. Whoops, took the wrong side of my cap off. All right, so let's see, number 1 comes up, number 1. Oh, hey, give me some paint. All right. Of course, my paint pen stops as soon as I put the record button on. All right. And then, what do we got? 2. Come up, number 2. And you can barely tell that's a 2, but it's a 2. 2. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So y'all can't tell. I'm gonna bring it in here for my future reference. I can look back at this video. But those are my 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can barely read it, but it's on there. Anyway. Alright, so now I can take these out. And just a minute ago, while I was cleaning everything up, I realized that you had a vacuum actuated choke on this carburetor that goes to nothing. I don't know if you can see that little line that I got right there, but that goes to your choke, but that doesn't go to anything. So your choke is unfunctional in here, which would explain a little bit of why you got the hesitation on acceleration. But we're going to go ahead and take that out of the way. So you saw I only took it off of one end, but clearly nothing hooked to that side. All right. All right, grab my trusty dusty short extension and a ratchet. So let's pull these plugs. So number 1, you can run a small little pull. Which one do you think is going to be the smoker? 1, 2, 3, or 4? I think, ooh, you know what? Before I even open these up, let me grab an airline real fast. before I even pull them out, so we don't get no trash down in there, I'm just gonna blow out that area. So now, these look like some pretty fresh plugs. And I know somebody did some work to get this thing running pretty good before. Yeah, there's almost no wear on that one. Not much fouling going on. I don't think that's our smoking cylinder. Number 2. Oh, number 2's in there a little bit. A little bit more. If I was a good videographer, I would have had that loose so that it didn't look bad. Again, now this one's got some fluid around it, but it's not quite oil fouled like I would expect to see as much smoke as you got burning through this motor. So I don't think number 2 is our cylinder either. This truck just doesn't quite sit low enough for my liking. Ooh, got that loose. Ooh. Yeah. So, number 3, you ready? Number 3. Number 3 doesn't look too bad. Still doesn't have that thick black cakey look that I come to expect when I'm seeing as much smoke as you got. Get a longer extension. So, by process of elimination, I believe it should be number 4. That shit's just so far away I can't reach it. Yep, there it is. In comparison to all the other ones, see the blackness on this that is not on this? Sorry, I can't focus in too well, but number 4 is our smoking gun, as they say. So with that done, I'm gonna go ahead, pull this valve cover. Let's see what it looks like underneath here. Now that's not a 14, that's gonna be a half. I swore I brought a half over here. There it is. Man, this is one of the things that's beautiful about these older trucks to get to the valve cover. I almost don't have to do anything to get down in here, whereas if it was a modern vehicle, I'd be moving all kinds of junk out of the way. All right, one more on that back side that I can't get to, of course not. All right, moment of truthuses. Let's get a good focus on there. And so we've got a little line right here to pull out. Pull PCB out of the way. Ooh, there's quite a bit of oil collected in the top side of this. Ooh, if I didn't know better, I'd say this engine isn't draining off very well at all. Because I drained the oil out of this. That means all this motor oil is just sitting up top. I'm going to put this plug back in. I've never seen oil come out like that. Boom skis. Well, I've pulled apart newer motors that were dirtier than that on the inside. That looks actually pretty good, other than the white residue But this motor's been sitting around, sucking in atmospheric pressure for a long time. Now, checking out these valves, looking for any kind of pitting. Look at that. See this? You see what I'm pulling out right here? Chunks of something. My question is why isn't this motor draining oil down when it should be? That's why you're leaking so bad, and that's probably what wore out your valve seals. I gotta let this down lower, don't I? Or I can get myself something to stand on. So, old gasket coming off. It's really not that bad. I can see all of my bolt heads. Everything looks really good. It's just our oil passage to drain the oil back off in here. It's completely clogged up on the front side, which would tell me that it's probably completely clogged up on the rear side. So what I got to do is, and you see what I'm doing? I'm kind of digging it out of this passage. But I don't know what this is all about. I guess I'll either find something shattered or something. But that's all. It looks like it's clogging up the oil drain, which allows the oil that's been circulated to the top of the motor to drain back down into the bottom of the motor. So I guess I know what I got to do. I guess I'm going to be pulling off the valve train, cleaning that up, and then we're going to pull these valves off. I mean, we're going to see if we can't collapse these springs and get the valve springs out. See if we can push some valve seals into it without tearing the head off. So wish me luck. That's where I'm at right now. I guess the rest of now what I'm going to be doing is just cleaning this all up. So the next time I check in with you, hopefully I'll be down to valve train off, and we'll have cleaned out some passages so that we've got some true oil circulation. There's definitely some oil cleanup that needs to happen in here, but that is not a bad looking valve train. I've definitely seen worse in newer motors, so good news. Alright, so I did a little bit of digging. I got everything out of that passageway, that oil draining. So I thought I'd go ahead and pull these valve covers, these rockers. Now I am not an old school Ford expert. I've only dug into one of these older motors like this one time before, but I was pretty successful with it, so I got high hopes for this way around. So closer shot up on all that. It's really not bad, just needs some cleanup. I'm only doing one side at a time here. It's interesting. I'm used to there being like an oil passage in a push rod. But those look really good, to be honest with you. There's nothing brown on it. I feel like this motor is actually fresher than it is perceived to be. So, yep, oh my God. Here, I'm gonna get you a better look. So, I don't know if you can see. Let's see if I can get it in there. There it is. See that passageway right there? I've cleaned that one out. Let me show you the rear one. If I can get it in screen. Here's my finger. Follow my finger. Look at the amount of trash. It looks like something. Can you see that? I can't see what I'm looking at. I'm hoping you're seeing what I'm pushing out. That is clogging up your oil from draining back down into the pan. And what that does is that means the oil's sitting back on top of these valves and then soaking through the seal and into the combustion chamber. So I'm gonna keep digging and I'll check back in on the next step. All right, thank you. All right, welcome back to this episode of What the Hell Am I Doing? I'm taking my light out. So you can see I got that passage pretty good and cleared out. It's draining off pretty fast now as opposed to before. I'm not a fan of how narrow that is. I wonder if that's modifiable, but whatever. And then as you can see on the back side, we got that one cleared out too. I don't know if you could have seen that before, but that one was clearly worse, being as that the engine rocks backwards. I don't know if you can hear me speak. But that's where we sit. The motor looks pretty good inside. I like it. We'll see what we do tomorrow. Appreciate you, Ray. I really appreciate your patience on this.